Planet of the Grapes. Actually a hybrid, which is actually true to say in real truth for absolutely every strain on the planet, because as we humans turned wolves into dogs, we've been messing around with cannabis for a long time. And when we took Sativa and Indica towards the west and it wouldn't grow, we took Cannabis ruderalis from what we now call Russia and mixed it to make it more robust, so it would stand the change in temperature in different earths and insects and stuff, to make it more sturdy. And so actually everything is a hybrid. So when people ask for Sativa or Indica or hybrid, what is really meant is everything's a hybrid, but it might be 70% Indica, 30% Sativa, so it's Indica-Dominant. Most people would say that's Indica. Actually it's both, but it's got more Indica than Sativa. And if it's Sativa, then it's more than 50% Sativa and less than 50% Indica, so it's Sativa-Dominant. And if it's 50-50, then I would call it hybrid. So if hybrid, 50-50. If I say Sativa, then there's more Sativa percent than Indica in it. And usually I will say hybrid if it's got more than, let's say, 10 or 20% Indica in it. Because most people who want Sativa, they don't really want much Indica or any in there. But there's always a bit. So you have to look for the dominance. But you might have 80% Sativa, 20% Indica, or 60% Sativa, 40% Indica, which would make it almost Indica-ish, yeah, and less party and more relaxed. So Planet of the Grapes is a hybrid, but I would say it's slightly Sativa dominant, so I'd give it 70% Sativa, or 75% Sativa, and maybe 20-25% Indica. Very little bit of Indica, but not much. Doesn't send you to sleep like Indica does. And it's a very fruity taste, yeah. And currently at ganjahouse.net, so Ganja House Koalanta in Clongdale, Saladan. Planet of the Grapes here in February. It's usually 300 baht a gram. Actually, there is a Planet of the Grapes, 300 baht a gram. Currently in February, we're dropping that, if you buy more than 1 gram, to 200 a gram. And pre-rolled joints are 150 baht. And you've got about a gram in there, actually, to be honest. So it's almost cheaper to buy a joint. Or is. Planet of the Grapes is a hybrid cannabis strain known for its unique combination of potent effects, rich aroma, and complex flavor profile. The strain is often recognized for its sedative and relaxing qualities, making it ideal for unwinding at the end of the day or managing stress and anxiety. Its origins trace back to the breeding techniques that aimed to balance potency with a smooth and enjoyable experience. So what about the origins and the genetic lineage of Planet of the Grapes? Well, it's the result, allegedly, of crossing Grape Diamonds, bred by Ethos Genetics, which is a world-famous genetics company, and Chem, which is Chemdog, which we also actually have in stock at Ganja House Koalanta in Krongdao, Saladan, Koalanta, Krabi, Thailand, and with I-95. So it's a mixture of Grape Diamonds, Chem and I-95. And it produces an Indica-Dominant hybrid. Whereas I actually say the Planet of the Grapes we've got is Sativa-Dominant hybrid. And I'm 60 years old, nearly, 59. I've been smoking for about 45, 46, 47 years. I used to sell in Amsterdam. When skunk weed first came out in 1989, I was already selling. And to be honest, all of these official THC level measurements and hybrid Indica-Dominant, Sativa-Dominant, what they tell you. I smoke every kind when we stock. And I would say experience will tell you, the effect will tell you if you're experienced. So I would say, first of all, our Planet of the Grapes doesn't look as purpley as this picture. It's more green, like grapes. So Planet of the Grapes can actually, it depends how you grow it. It doesn't have to be Indica-Dominant. And I give ours a hybrid. And I'd say it's about 70% Sativa, 30% Indica. So it's definitely not one for just go to bed and relax. You can smoke that in a man for all seasons. So anyway, it does have very high THC levels. I'd give it about 26, 27%, the one in stock in February. It's very well cured. It's very nice. It has a kind of course, the grapey taste. I'd say it has a sour diesely taste, and I don't taste much Chem D in there, to be honest. So this Thailand Planet of the Grapes is actually slightly different from this description, which I am altering as I speak to adapt to the particular harvest we have right now. So it has a well-rounded terpene profile, I would agree with that, which means the aromas and tastes, it's quite fruity. While technically categorized as Indica-Dominant, like all modern cannabis strains, it is a hybrid due to thousands of years of cultivation, crossbreeding, and environmental adaptation, which is what I was saying and always say. So it's further influenced by the lesser known but significant role of cannabis ruderalis. All cannabis is. Yeah, everything's a hybrid. It's just Indica-Dominant, Sativa-Dominant, 60-40, 70-40, 80-40, depending, yeah, or whatever, yeah. So it's like 80-20, would Indica 80%, 20% cannabis, Sativa, they're just going to tell you that's Indica, right? But actually everything's a hybrid, just like we turned wolves into dogs. We were messing around, and to grow it in the western and other areas where it wouldn't grow, we found Cannabis ruderalis in the Russian, what is now Russia, which is a hardy, low THC variety, as it says here, from Russia, that was historically used to enhance the plant's resilience and adaptability. Okay, so the average THC and CBD content here is 20 to 30. Oh, well, that's pretty broad. I will say it depends how you grow it, really is true. The harvest we have in February of our Planet of the Grapes, I would give it about 27%, a good 26, 27%. And yeah, for quite experienced users, or just put a little bit in if you're not. As to it says, CBD levels typically below 1%, that's rubbish. Every single cannabis strain in every cannabis dispensary around the world, they put -1%, less than 1%. That's rubbish. That's rubbish. You've got THC and CBD in cannabis plants, and you have different CBD levels, and nobody's measuring the CBD, so they're just writing it down off the top of their heads. But I can tell you that the night move I'm about to smoke to go to sleep for sure will have a 7% CBD level to it. And I'm going to get a CBD tester because I have AI. I just need a USB tester that I can test the active components. I need some lab equipment, and I'm going to prove this. Because there's CBD in Indica, more in Indica than Sativa, which is why it helps you to relax. And it's also why some kinds of cannabis help cure different ailments, and other kinds help cure other ailments or help different conditions. So the taste is sweet and fruity, grapes, berries, hint of citrus. I'd say also a bit sour, like sour grapes, like sour diesel, the famous strain. The aroma is earthy and musky. It's actually grapey and fruity, our harvest. Yeah, with this distinct grape-forward scent, with undertones of skunk and pine. The pine will come from the terpene linalool, which is pretty good for relaxing actually, but it's not so much relaxing that it would knocks you out to go to sleep. For that you would need caryophyllene, which is also very good for reducing inflammation. Okay, so the terpene profiles allegedly are myrcene, which is fruity. It's very sedative, so it's relaxation, and it works synergistically to amplify your calming effects. I will explain the synergistic effect of THC in the endocannabinoid system later and publish it on YouTube and our Facebook page, and if Google eventually lets our Google business page do updates, which it doesn't in the moment, I'll do it there too. Limonene. That's very good for creativity, actually. It wakes you up more than anything. Citrus lemon. You find it in lemons, which is why it smells like lemon. Yeah? And so mood enhancement. It's good for parties. It's good for stress relief. Good for a bit of exhilaration. Yeah? And anxiolytic properties. Yeah? But if you have something like ADHD or you're very hyperactive, cannabis that has a lot of limonene and don't have any caryophyllene or myrcene or pinene would actually bump you up a bit too much and maybe even make you nervous. But the presence of the pinene, the caryophyllene and the myrcene in this particular strand, yeah, which is plant of the grapes, balance that out. Yeah, pinene promotes alertness and memory retention, so it's really good for ADHD, yeah, and counteracts some of the THC's sedative effects. You mean the CBD's sedative effects? You see, there's a lot of, some of this is my information and some of it is official information from maybe Leafly or something. So I like to show what's officially said about this. So it's, if you look up what I've written, it's what you're going to find on the web. But I like to actually, with my decades of experience as a consumer and a knower and a grower and a smoker, yeah, and a seller and a buyer, to explain that this isn't exactly accurate. Yeah, not everybody knows everything yet. So, and the caryophyllene is anti-inflammatory and analgesic, and it interacts with CB2 receptors, providing additional therapeutic benefits. So I have PTSD, and I get physically and emotionally very, very tense sometimes, and I can't sleep. Any cannabis with a lot of caryophyllene, which I don't like the taste, it's like you find it in pepper, black pepper. So it's quite a spicy taste and kind of pungent. Yeah. But with this Planet of the Grapes, the caryophyllene is masked with the limonene, the appley, fruity myrcene, the lemony limonene, and the lavenderish kind of piney taste, yeah, of the other three terpenes. So this terpene profile is very balanced, but it contains very good recreational and therapeutic qualities. So it's actually a very popular strain because it's useful for many things. Yeah. So synergy in the endocannabinoid system, as I said I would explain, is that the THC interacts in your brain with the CB1 receptors, which we've had for millions of years in our brain, and it only accepts one thing, THC, the terpenes, and CBD, so cannabis, producing euphoria, relaxation, and psychoactive effects. That's what THC does when it enters the receptor in your brain. When you smoke cannabis, you will be receiving THC and CBD, but what happens is that the terpenes, which are the taste and smell molecules, which you can find in other plants and fruits and even animals, some animals, and it's what gives each different strain a different smell and taste. If it smells like apples, you'll know it has myrcene in it, which you can also find in real apples. Okay, so the terpenes is the third thing: THC, CBD, and terpenes. And so the terpenes, this is a new discovery in the medical world of medical cannabis, and it's unlocking the secret of why a strain can treat cancer but it won't treat Alzheimer's, and why that other strain might be treating Alzheimer's but it can't deal with cancer. Because when it enters your cannabinoid receptors in your brain, THC brings euphoria, CBD modulates THC's effect by binding indirectly to the receptors and reduces anxiety and paranoia, which is what happens if you smoke pure sativa with very low CBD and you're a paranoid or easily anxious person. It's going to bump you up, and it does me because I have ADHD. And I can smoke 100 bongs a day, but if it's just sativa, it's going to make me nervous. So I need to balance that out with indica. You need to know what's good for your particular body chemistry and brain chemistry. Terpenes have caused the entourage effect. So an entourage means people following along. What it means is the THC and CBD enters your brain, but what causes the effect of analgesic or anti-inflammatory or get rid of stress or heal cancer or Alzheimer's or help epilepsy is the terpene, the THC and the CBD working in combo, which is what they mean by the synergistic effect, and it's a new discovery. So different strains have different terpenes, the smell, taste things, molecules, and it's the mix of the THC, CBD and which specific terpenes are present that decide how that's going to affect you or what its therapeutic or recreational benefits will be, and disadvantages depending on what kind of biochemistry you have, because there's a right strain for everybody and there's also a wrong strain for everybody, which is why some people smoke weed, get paranoid, don't like it, and don't try it again and stay afraid of it for the rest of their lives. It's because they tried the wrong strain. Yeah? If you've got ADHD and you try something that bumps your mind up and makes it paranoid, super sativa dominant, might put you off for the rest of your life. But if you had an indica with your first one and it brought you down and it had a bit of sativa and some THC to make you creative and make you focus, from like amnesia lemon haze, a person with ADHD would find that very good. And I know my mind can't do without THC, but I need the right balance of CBD and THC. And anybody who says cannabis has less than 1% CBD in all strains, but 27 or 24 or 28% THC, that's BS, that's rubbish. So we're going to have to start making official statements of how much CBD and measuring it, because they're not measuring it, they're just putting less than 1% as a legal thing on the paper when they sell in their dispensaries, and it's wrong, because the CBD is something we need to. We're not just recreationally trying to get high, we're also trying to, most people don't want to just get high. They actually find that cannabis helps them, helps their stress, helps whatever their personal thing is, which you could call a medical condition. So, good for relaxation, mood enhancement, creativity, sleep aid, pain relief, anxiety, insomnia, appetite stimulation. I'm not sure if it's one that gives you the munchies. I wouldn't agree that the grape, that this strain, Planet of the Grapes, really gives you the munchies. But then again, I don't get the munchies very much anyway. So best usage scenarios: relaxation after a long day, evening unwinding, stress relief, pain management, sleep induction. Yeah. But you can smoke it early evening in the bar or something, or in the restaurant and talk with people, but just take it easy. Yeah? And what I was saying about hybrids, the notion of pure sativa or indica strains is largely a myth. It's not largely, it's completely a myth. There's over thousands of years human cultivation has led to an intermingling of genetic traits. So while the terms indica and sativa are still widely used to describe plant morphology and effects, they are oversimplified labels. The less discussed cannabis ruderalis played a pivotal role, in modern cannabis breeding. Native to Russia and Eastern Europe, ruderalis contributed the hardiness for extreme climates and auto-flowering traits which is why people can sell seeds very expensive these days. So they should pray and thank Cannabis ruderalis, because without that they wouldn't have been able to do it so easily. Allowing the plant to bloom regardless of light cycles. These traits have been incorporated into countless hybrid strains, making today's cannabis a blend of all 3 subspecies, without exception. Without exception, unless somebody can come up and prove genetically that they have one that is pure. Yeah. So, back to what I started with before, the knowledge base, and for your information, or did you know, section of this screencast / podcast / vlog for ganjahouse.net and the Ganja House Koh-Lanta Cannabis Dispensary. The Planet of the Grapes is a potent indica, not ours, it's a bit Sativa dominant. So it might be 60-40, 60 indica, 40 Sativa usually. Ours is more like 60 Sativa, 40 indica. It's a hybrid. It's nice dark green. It's a very nice greeny color like grapes, ours. It doesn't look like in this picture, to be honest, unless you take it under the eye loop. Stress relief, pain management. I'd say it's good for chilling. Feel like a massage. It's a bit hashy, yeah. It does have a bit of a heavy bodily feeling. It's definitely not super Sativa, like somebody just slapped you in the face or poured a bucket of cold water over your head and you're whoops straight up there, yeah. Recreational and medicinal. Yeah, it's good for recreational medicinal. I wouldn't say it'll make you super creative. It definitely won't make you creative. It will be more for chilling, listening to music, talking with friends, and keep smoking, you will fall asleep. So, harnessing centuries of cannabis cultivation, this strain exemplifies the versatility and complexity of modern cannabis hybrids. It's a very good, well-rounded hybrid, yeah. That's a bit AI written, that sentence. I used a bit of AI to help me formulate this, but remove any untruth and always edit for accuracy. So correct that to say that it's a really good all-rounder, very high quality, top shelf weed. I'd call it a hybrid. You're that close to 50-50 that you could say that it's, before we knew any of this years ago, just some really good weed. Because people really didn't want to know if it was Sativa or Indica hybrid or good for party or for sleep. It was just weed. And you knew that if you smoke a lot, you get a munchies. But these days it is true. There you can get very detailed, and if you want the therapeutic and medical benefits, then I have to talk about that. As for the partying benefits, to be honest, everybody has a different biochemistry, brain chemistry, body chemistry. What's good for the goose is not always good for the gander. What I like and what works well for me doesn't mean it's going to work well for you. So the best thing to do is to just try every strain until you find the one that's for you. And you're going to have to find a couple that didn't work as you wished. But that's, I believe they call it trial and error. So find a good provider that has a good price so you can afford that trial and error. Try a gram of each kind until you find the kind you like. At Ganja House in Koh-Lanta we have the Ganja Garden, and actually you can come and try a little glass bong or a little bit of any weed you want to buy for free. Because actually, if I want to buy a bike, I want to test drive it first. And so if you want to buy some weed, you should be able to test drive it first. So we have a garden for when you come. You can come and sit and Bluetooth your music to our Bluetooth speakers. You can look at our weed. You can smoke your own weed. You can make a joint, sit on the sofas and listen and have a drink and relax. And it's a legal smoking area behind the dispensary, enclosed, and it's called the Ganja Garden. So if you're on Koh-Lanta, and not watching this from abroad online or somewhere else in Thailand, you're quite welcome to drop down to the Ganja Garden to try out some Planet of the Grapes or any other kind, of which currently I think we have about 22 different strains in stock. So whether you're seeking tranquility or therapeutic relief, Planet of the Grapes is a stellar choice. I would say so. So I'll be making a video soon with some close-up real video of our actual Planet of the Grapes. And till then, hope you appreciated this informational vlog or podcast, which I'll be now uploading to our Facebook page and to the YouTube channel from ganjahouse.net. Ganja House Cannabis Dispensary Koh Lanta Yai in Klong Dao Saladan in Koh Lanta in Krabi, Thailand, for February 2025, updating Planet of the Grapes and also extra info about hybrids, endocannabinoid system, the synergistic effect and terpenes for a basic introduction whilst I was at it. And for Ganja House, Koh Lanta, signing off. Hope you enjoyed this.